Hi everybody, happy Sunday. It's so good to see you all here on Emerge Healing and Wellness. I know it's been a while since I've gone live on this page, but say hello if you're here and share out to anyone who might gain some wisdom from being in the space of the Akashic Records, might need a little bit of guidance and direction when it comes to building their intuition. And let me know if you have questions about your intuition. Let me know where you have experienced your intuitive nudges in your life. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but intuition, there's multiple different ways to be able to tune into this. Hey, Giselle, thanks so much for being here. I'm trying to figure out how to share this from my phone, and I do not know how to do that. So if you guys are willing to share this out, in fact, let me see if I can figure this out really quickly, because unfortunately it's not letting me and I just don't know how to do it. So anyway, so share this out to people that that might benefit. But so intuition, there's a number of different ways that we can connect to our intuition. And one of the ways that I have a direct line into being in the space of the Akashic Records, even without doing the entire ritual, is being here. Hey, Aline, so good to see you. Being here outside next to my tree, my grandmother tree here that I absolutely love and adore. She is my bestie. And she just offers me so much peace and comfort and love, and just sitting next to her, hugging her, offers me so much warmth. And I wanted to share this space with you today, and I also wanted to guide you guys through a meditation in the space of the Akashic Records. So if there's anybody that you know that could benefit from a little meditative love today, please share this out or let them know or tag them to have them join us. So one of the best ways to develop our intuition is through the space of the Akashic Records. It's also through meditation. And the way that we receive messages, that's what I was just going to talk about earlier. The way that we receive messages is by tuning into our clairs. So there's clairvoyance, which is the ability to see things within your third eye, which is right here between your eyes. And it's almost like you're watching a movie on the inside of your forehead. Okay. And, when we are tuned into that, when we're in meditation or we're in the Akashic Records, we can see scenes unfolding. We can sometimes see images, symbols, words, mantras that are unfolding before our eyes right here when you're watching it, like on the inside of your forehead. So that's clairvoyance, okay? You can also see beings. And sometimes clairvoyance shows up as seeing just shadowy objects or seeing things that are fuzzy, almost like a visual snow is what they call it. Okay, so clairvoyance is really anything that you can see when you're in a meditative space or when you're in the Akashic Records. Clairsentience is when you are when you feel something in this space. So I'm in the Akashic Records, I'm in meditation, and I start feeling anxious, or I start feeling angry, or I start feeling nauseated, or I'm getting a pain somewhere in my physical body. So the sensation can be physical, but the sensation can also be emotional, okay? And when we tune into those and we get a sensation when we're in that meditative space, that's a cue. That's a way that our guides, that the universe is communicating with us, okay? And when they communicate with us, we have the opportunity to dive in deeper and explore what message it is they're trying to send our way that is in our best interest to integrate at that time. So it's really important to be able to tune into our intuition so we know very, very clearly where we are being nudged that's in our highest good, that's going to help us move forward on our soul path, okay? Another way is through clairaudience, which is hearing things. And you can hear voices, you can hear, and it's not psychosis, because you're able to, the difference between psychosis, my friends, and auditory hallucinations and clairaudience is that when you're clairaudient, you're very aware that these voices are outside of yourself, okay? Very aware that these voices are outside of yourself. And when you are having a psychotic episode and you're hearing things, even if it's bells or noises or like a rustling or something like that, you're going to not be able to delineate whether it's reality or whether it is something that you're hearing outside of yourself that is conjured up either by spirits or by your own intuition. Does that make sense? Because the difference is when I'm tuning in and I'm hearing something, I know it's outside of myself. Okay, I know it's not part of me and existing as my reality. I know it's something external to me and I can distance myself from it. Versus if I'm having psychosis and I'm hearing things, I think that they're actually happening and that that's my reality. And I'm not able to separate myself from it. It feels like it's all internal and I can't manage it or control it. And when we're intuitive, we can really see these messages as wise nudges from our spirit guides, okay? The other way is through, you can smell things when you're in the space of the Akashic Records or when you're in the space of meditation. And this would be like, oh, I'm smelling coffee, but there's no coffee around me. And my grandmother always used to make coffee. Certain scents that remind you of certain people. Those can come up as well. Another way is through claircognizance. And this is the one that confuses. Oh, good, Aline, I'm so glad, because the more that you can tune into, the more of the 5 senses that you can tune into, the more connected you are. So it's really good to practice being able to pull all of these things. I'm so glad you found me, Rebecca. I can't figure out how to share from my phone. So if you guys want to share out to my personal page or to your personal pages, that would be great. I'll share it afterwards, but I haven't gone live off my phone in a while. So, hey, Rebecca. So the more that you can align, and we're going to do an exercise in a meditation now, the more that you can align with as many of those clairs at the same time as possible, the stronger the message is that's going to come through. Okay, the more connected you're going to feel to your higher self and to your intuition. All right. So claircognizance is when you just have a knowing, and this one's really hard for people sometimes. I'm putting this down. It's really hard for people sometimes because they feel that they're not seeing evidence, right? And when we're tuned into our senses, we have evidence, okay? Like I can feel, thanks, Rebecca. I can feel the wind blowing right now. I can see the sunshine. I can see the shadows of the leaves. That's all evidence for me, okay? And I'm a human, so we like as humans to have evidence to confirm that what's coming through is real and what's coming through is accurate and a true nudge, okay? But claircognizance is something like, oh, I just know it, but I don't have any evidence for it, right? It's like that gut feeling. I just have this feeling, like when I was driving my daughter to daycare a couple months ago, and for the first time ever, I thought, she's going to get the flu today. And guess what? She did get the flu that day. I probably, if I had listened to my intuitive nudge, I would have turned around and I would have taken her back home, and she would not have gotten it that day. But I didn't listen to my intuitive nudge. Because I was like, oh, I started to rationalize out of it. And that's the problem that so many people are having in the world right now. We don't listen to our intuitive nudges because we're like, oh, that doesn't make sense, or that's silly. I take her to daycare all the time. She could get the flu any day. Why would today be any different? And I didn't trust it, right? So when we trust these things, we are going to make greater progress toward our highest good. I've been a therapist for almost 20 years, my friends. I'm a very successful therapist, a lot of very solid patient outcomes. But guess what? I'm still not as smart as the Akashic Records. I'm still not as smart as Spirit, okay? People I've met with for over a decade, I give them some awesome feedback. We open their records. The records are like, yeah, no, okay? So we really need to surrender to divine intelligence and use this as a tool. Therapy's great, but it's only one layer. Okay, when we get those intuitive nudges, that's more reliable than any feedback we get from anybody, whether it's a really successful therapist, whether it's a wise other in our lives, okay? And we get so used to relying on other people, where we really need to be relying on ourselves and our own intuition. And that's why I wanted to share today how you can do that and just give you a little bit of a meditative exercise to tune into a lot of these clairs. The other clair you can tune into is taste. And that one is much less common, but you can certainly taste things that are not necessarily aligned with something you've just eaten or something you've just put in your mouth, okay? The other thing you can do is set yourself up for having a successful clair experience by, say, putting a mint under your tongue or something that you feel is going to activate your connection to the intuitive part of you. Okay. You can also put on music. Like I love kirtan, listening to chanting, listening to music you can put on to assist you with being able to access this intuitive piece more quickly and more easily. okay? So you can use the clairs as tools in a lot of ways, okay? But claircognizance, the one that screws people up and they get confused and they feel like they doubt themselves a lot because you don't necessarily have that evidence to support the fact that you have brought through whatever is coming through, okay? So that just takes practice, and you guys practicing tuning into your clairs and trusting the wisdom and taking action based on the wisdom that comes through. I promise you, the more consistently you do this, hi Deshanta, thanks so much for being here. Yeah, Aline, it is difficult sometimes because we're humans. We are humans, and I want you guys to have some patience with yourself and be gentle, please. You guys are gonna go in and out of this. And this is why we have so many light workers doing this work and so many people sharing this message, that hopefully you'll run into one at the right time, right? Who's going live or who's accessing this wisdom so that you're reminded, because we all need reminders to stay on track. I have 2 coaches. I'm in a mastermind and I have a coach. You know, we all need these because we need to keep redirecting. And the more often I do it, the more aligned I am and the more in flow I am and the more easy life is and the more freedom I feel. Hi, Farrell. Thanks so much for being here. Feel free to share out, guys, because we're going to be doing a meditation in a minute. Yeah, Rebecca, I would love to hear more about that because there really, in my opinion, is no such thing as negative intuition. So I would love to know what kind of messages you're getting that you would label as negative. Because typically when we're labeling something as negative intuition, is really our own judgments. It's our own interpretation, and it's important for you to manage your interpretation, not your intuition. Manage your interpretation so that you see everything that's coming through as serving you, because everything that comes through is serving us. That I promise you. So Deshanta, so we all have the clairs. We absolutely do. Some more strongly than others. So typically you're going to be strong in 1 or 2 of the clairs, sometimes even more of that at the same time. Okay. You're not necessarily going to feel, so of course people feel the most confident in their intuition if they're able to tune into all of the clairs. And like I said, the more that you can tune into, the stronger your message is going to be, and the more easily the message is going to flow, and the more confident you're going to be in what's coming through. So practicing the clairs is really productive, okay? But it's not necessary, because you can just find that there's one thing. Like for me, I am clairvoyant, clairsentient, and claircognizant, okay? So I see things unfold. I don't hear that much. My daughter seems to be clairaudient, but I don't really hear that much when I'm in the records or in meditation, but I definitely have a knowing, and I definitely get sensations. So if I'm doing a reading for somebody, I will definitely get physical sensations that come up in my body or in my emotional field that I then cue into and I explore a little bit deeper. And all we have to do is ask questions, guys. All we have to do is ask for Spirit's help and our guides' help on this, okay? So if we're confused about a symbol that's coming through, take a pause. Don't get all flustered. Just take a pause and sit back and take a deep breath to recenter. Take a sip of water, that helps the energy flow, and ask, what is this coming forward for today? How is this serving me today? How is this informing my next steps? How is this enriching me as a human being? Okay, those are ways that we can go further and deeper into the intuitive nudges that come if we don't understand them right away. The other thing I want you guys to realize is that when you are dealing with your intuition, you're going to get nudges and you're going to get messages, but the actions don't have to follow immediately. You can also allow yourself to kind of grow into the actions, right? Allow the nudges to continue to come, and that doesn't mean dismiss them, but you may interact with them at different levels. So some of the messages you may share with another. Some of them you may journal. Some of them you may draw. Some of them you may meditate on, okay? And then you'll find that over time, as you continue to tune into the same nudges and you continue to get deeper and get more information about them, you will then have more clarity on taking action. So it also requires patience to know that things are unfolding in your field, and sometimes they're spontaneous and sometimes, instantaneous, and sometimes they're not instantaneous, and it's going to take time to unfold, and you need to give the space and the time for things to unfold. Deshanta, I hear high pitches a lot, and I have an abnormally large dream recollection. I have since I was a kid. So that's exactly what happens to my daughter, Deshanta. She gets high pitches? Have you asked what they mean and what they're trying to communicate to you? You may be somebody who can bring in light language as well, which is the ability to really channel any kind of intuitive messages that are being sent from a being or the spirit realm in some way. Sometimes they can come through as noises or sounds like that first, and then they end up taking on a form of their own language over time, which is not something to be intimidated about. In fact, it's an honor because you've been chosen to kind of share this message with the world. So it can be that, but it can also be that your clairaudience is developing as well. So I would definitely encourage you to ask questions about what that means or what purpose that's serving for you. And the piece with your dreams, my question would be, have you been practicing lucid dreaming tools? You guys can go onto the YouTube channel, The Lucid Mystic. Haley Lynn is absolutely fantastic. She knows everything there is to know about dreaming. And if your dreams are one way that your intuition is communicating to you, you can absolutely use that as a power tool, okay? For getting clear on next steps, understanding yourself better, getting deeper and deeper into this intuitive experience. So I'd really encourage you to follow some of those lucid dreaming techniques because they're very, very easy to implement. And it doesn't take long. I mean, for me, it only took a few days of practicing the lucid dreaming techniques before I was able to really set intentions for my dreams, ask questions before I went to bed as to what I wanted to get out of my dreams that night, and I would get direct answers. Good, Deshanta. Yeah, your body's vibrating. All of that energy is definitely moving through you. I would really encourage you to ground on a regular basis if that's the case. So definitely grounding, which is what I'm doing today. It's funny because people used to tell me for years, go outside, put your feet on the ground, go outside. And I was so resistant to it. And I really didn't think that was my thing. And I have been called so deeply to Mother Earth over the past couple months and getting closer and closer. And it is absolutely amazing how much shifting has been done just by connecting to her and spending time with her. It immediately brings me to a place of peace. So, when people are giving you all of these techniques and tools to try, I want you guys to choose the ones that really resonate with you and not kick yourself if you feel like, oh, I don't want to try that, and think, oh, I'm just not patient enough, or I'm not committed. Don't be self-critical in that way. Really just say, I'm not drawn to that, but I'm drawn to this right now. All right, go with what you're drawn to, because that is part of listening to your intuition, okay? Are the Akashic Records biblical? So the Akashic Records, they're not necessarily based in a biblical story or verse, but the Akashic Records include all of the loved ones that have passed on, ascended masters, so Jesus is one of them, angels, any archangels, or any other spirit guides that you know of. Sometimes we have spirit guides. Like I have one that is an ancient monk, and I don't exactly know what his name is, but he's always around in my records. He doesn't say really anything. He just gives me messages in gestures and symbols and by burning certain herbs. So, okay, Deshanta, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. So they're not biblical, meaning based in biblical theory, but you can access anything in the Bible through the Akashic Records. Does that answer your question, Pharaoh? It is an area that is very unique to each person. So if you are somebody who really follows the Bible to a T, you're somebody who is going to find more biblical figures in that space. I've had a lot of biblical figures come forward in the space of the Akashic Records for my clients. Not necessarily because we've gone in there with that intention, but just because they've shown up because they're very relevant to their own journey or to their own history. So the guides that show up for you are going to be very personalized based on your history, based on the language that you speak. Okay, that's why it's so awesome that there's so many people who offer this service, because some of them are going to receive messages differently than others. And there's going to be people who don't necessarily connect to the records in the same way that I do, but they do with somebody else. Because the records communicate to us through our own language, our own experiences, because they know that we need certain symbols or terminology that are going to resonate with us and help us understand the messages they're sending through. So they're very particular about, that's why I think it's so powerful to open up your own record and to really have that experience, because, you know, I can give you messages from my records and they're absolutely going to be helpful and productive, but they're not unique to your own soul blueprint. And it's so awesome. I mean, literally every time I enter the records, I'm blown away when I enter other people's records, because they're all different. They're all unique to everybody's path and the way that they operate and think and make sense of the world and have perspective. So Farrell says, I wondered about the inviting in of spirits. So what was your question about that? You can invite in spirits, but I do find that it's at the spirit's discretion. So like if I want to connect with my father, I will request to connect with my father, and sometimes he's like, yeah, I'm not here today. I'm over there hanging out with your sister, whatever it is. So, you know, we can feel the energy, and once you're in the records a lot, you can really feel the energy of what is coming through, and whether or not that spirit wants to connect with you or is prepared. And honestly, they know better than we do. So if that spirit doesn't feel like you are ready to connect with them, or you are ready to integrate whatever lessons they have to offer you, then they're going to take a back seat, or they're going to give you a different message that they know you're ready to receive and integrate. And that's why it's such a safe space to do work. And it's such a safe space to expand your intuition, because you know you're never going to get anything that is going to harm you in any way. It's only going to serve you, and you're not going to be given more than you can handle. And that's why it's such a beautiful tool to use as a therapist, because I know that it's a very gentle, compassionate message and direction. The possibility, no, you're not going to have bad spirits in the Akashic Records, my friend. Definitely not. In fact, it's my belief. There's a video that Daisy Farrell and I did maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago. I think it maybe been 4 weeks ago. And it was talking about the idea of demons and bad spirits and ghosts and things like that. And we truly believe that that frightens you, that there really are no bad spirits. You know, that all spirits that are here with us are here to gain our attention, because there's a lesson that we need to learn, or there's something that we need to accomplish, that they're eager for us to move forward on, because it's in the highest good for all. Okay, sometimes we are contacted really as if you want to look at it as just like a service provider for spirit. You know, we are providing a service by allowing these messages to come through us so that the highest good can come through. No, I have never, the Akashic Records are an entirely unconditionally loving, compassionate, patient, gentle space. There are absolutely no negative spirits there. And again, like I said, I don't believe there are any. And that our interpretation of spirits that are coming to us is entirely based on our own blocks, our own belief systems, and our own fears. And when we can become comfortable with that and clear those limiting beliefs, we're going to be more open to what's coming through. A lot of times we get scary images that are coming through. I mean, I don't, but some people do, because they're afraid. Because they're afraid, or because they have preconceived notions about what the spirit world is like. And I think that there's a victim mentality associated with that too sometimes, which we all fall into as human beings. Of, you know, I've been harmed before. You know, whether I've been harmed on this earth or whatever, I feel harmed, and I'm afraid like that somebody's going to come get me, or that I need to protect myself in some way. And that's really a fear-based mentality. And it's very effective to diminish that and to soothe that. And one of the ways you can do that is in the space of the Akashic Records, so that especially when you go in with a practitioner who can really hold space for you and help you really know and understand that this is a safe space, and here's how you can explore it for yourself. Okay? So I'm going to take you guys on a brief meditation here just to connect to some of our clairs so that we can build our intuition, okay? So everybody close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And the more aligned you can make your spine, the better. And the best way that we do that is tucking our tailbone just a little bit and dipping our chin down just the teeniest bit, because that really lengthens our spine. Taking another deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And on this next breath in, I want you to pause at the top. Breathe out when you can no longer hold the breath. I want you to continue to breathe slowly and deeply at a pace that's comfortable for you. Becoming comfortable with the space in which you're sitting. Knowing very clearly that your physical body is being held, that you can release effort and allow yourself to sink into and relax into the space that you're sitting. I just want you to tune into the sensation of the breath moving in and out of your nose. Identifying its temperature and how far up you can feel this breath moving. Appreciating whether you can feel it on your upper lip. And you can feel the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. Tuning into this clairsentience right now, the feeling of our breath, the motion of our physical body, the support of being held in this physical space so that we can release some of our tension, some of our buildup, some of our hold. And as you're sitting here, allowing your body to relax, your jaw to loosen, your lips to part, your shoulders to sink back and down. You get an idea of any sounds that you're listening to right now, any sounds that are in your environment. And it's important for you to tune into the depth of the sound. Don't just label them. Get an idea of their pitch, of how long they last. Of how rich the tone is. Whether you can hold on to these sounds even after they've stopped making noise in your environment. Is this something you can carry internally? For instance, I'm listening to the birds right now. When they stop chirping, can I continue to hear that chirping in my mind? Can I hold on to that? Can I extend that? Can I modify it? Can I adjust it? Can I lower or heighten the tone of this bird's chirping? Can I lengthen it? And I want you to see if you can hear and listen to the breath that's moving in and out of your physical body. Listening to the sounds of your digestion, of your heart beating, of your swallowing. I want you to tune in now to any smells that might be coming forward for you. And it could just be a neutral smell of the air. Again, tuning into the depth of the smell, how rich that is for you. Does it have a temperature? What kind of image does this create in your mind when you smell something? You see how the clairs can work together. How when you smell something, you can then create an image within your mind an image that I encourage you to follow, again, like you're watching a drive-in movie on the inside of your forehead. You may notice colors, you may notice symbols or words, you may notice a scene unfolding. You may notice a memory. Just follow it. Don't judge it, don't question it, don't analyze it, just follow it. You're welcome to share in the comments, either now or later, if anything's coming through that you have questions about. I want you to put your hand on your heart right now and just send yourself some love with intention. Getting in touch with the sensation of your hand on your heart, the shifting in your energy field and your emotions in your body when you make a connection with yourself, when you ground within yourself. Continuing to pair all of these clairs together now. Being aware of any sounds that might be coming into your field, the image that conjures up, the emotional or physical sensations that arise at the same time. Meditation and intuitive work is a very focused process. It's very intentional. And this isn't something that you have to practice all the time, even if you just gave it a couple minutes a day. Practice bringing all these together, watching this meditation again. Appreciating and knowing that you are shifting and changing as you devote this time to yourself, even if you don't see it in results immediately. The timing is for the universe to decide, not for us to decide. Trusting your guides that they know what's in your highest good. I want you to take a really deep breath in through your nose now. Breathe out really, really heavily. Really squeezing out everything within your physical body, squeezing your belly button to your spine, wringing out your abdomen like you're wringing out a towel. Really releasing all that no longer serves you. Just being present in this moment. Practicing your clairs also helps you practice presence, mindfulness, appreciating this moment, having gratitude. It's about loving yourself, giving to yourself. When you're ready, you can stretch your neck, you can wiggle your fingers and toes, you can come back to center. Thanks for being here, Janie. Hi, Jenny. I couldn't figure out how to share this on my personal page or in Room for Healing because I'm on my phone. I never go live from my phone and I just couldn't figure it out, so I'll share it later. Let me know what came through for you guys. Were you able to tune in to an image, to a sound, to a smell, to a sensation, physical or emotional? Let me know if there were any difficulties that you had with tuning into any of those, or which one felt really aligned for you, felt really natural, like you were sinking into it. Hey, Valerie, thanks so much for being here. Let me know. Because it's important to identify where is this more effortless for me? And where would I like to give more attention so that I can expand my intuitive abilities and I can expand my intuition more? Get to a context of greater understanding with myself, with the world, with others, with nature. Colors like a kaleidoscope. Love that, Rebecca. That's beautiful. Yeah, Valerie, I think you jumped on right at the end. No worries. But I would love to hear your feedback in the comments when you watch. And so when you see colors like a kaleidoscope, that's really, really cool and powerful, Rebecca, because when we have colors that are coming in like a kaleidoscope, we can create our own sacred geometry patterns. I wear one every day, my sacred geometry, with my 5G pendant to absorb the negative energies. Hey, Giselle. I am so happy that I lulled you into a rest. You needed the rest. Hey, Sharon, thanks for being here. So, sacred geometry, everything in our world, all matter is made up of the same building blocks, the same atoms, molecules, shapes, structures, and they're just organized in different patterns, right? And that's why we see things differently. We see a tree differently than the grass, differently than the house, differently than my shoes, because they're all arranged in different patterns. But when you see all of those colors like a kaleidoscope, and that was Rebecca, and I can do another live too on how you can play with some of those colors too and create from them. But you can create your own sacred geometry. You can create your own patterns with all of those colors and shapes that are coming up. Beautiful, Rebecca. We can work with that for sure. Because you can create, that's information for you to create from, to draw what it was you were seeing, to create either in your mind's eye or visually by drawing it. Creating your own personal, unique sacred geometry. How powerful is that? Pretty kick-ass, right? So if that's something that you've been seeing since you were a child, clairvoyance is definitely something that's in your back pocket if it's not in your front pocket, my friend. Something that I would encourage you to continue to grow and spend time with and expand. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I love being out here next to my tree. I wanted to share it with you. I would encourage you to continue sharing your experiences with us as you continue to, if you're watching the replay, or as you continue to play with some of these modalities and see how they serve you. I have if you want to really dive in more deeply and expand your intuition more, I have a course starting called Cosmic Compass Calibrator with Stephanie Siefkes. We're both Akashic Records practitioners. We're going to be taking you into your records for 7 weeks, teaching you how to use that space, teaching you how to really expand your Clair senses in the space of the Akashic Records so that you can fine-tune and have a very clear guidance system within yourself that you know you can rely on and access all the time. This is a space of infinite wisdom, of infinite possibilities, and it's a gift to all of us that has completely changed my life, and I've seen it change so many others. It's a group program. Yes, it is. It's a group program, and you'll get a certificate of intuitive activation afterwards, because we're going to be diving so deeply into expanding, fine-tuning, and securing your intuition, really securing it so that you know exactly what to do when you waver. You know exactly where to come back to. You're not going to be stuck in that chaos, that hemming and hawing, that back and forth. So I will share the link for that in the comments, and you're welcome to reach out to me individually if you have questions about it or if you want to see if it's the right fit for you. I'm happy to connect. Yes, Rebecca, I'll send you the information, and then you and I can talk about if that's the best fit for you. But I'm excited. It's time for all of us to, in the globally, right, to tune into this intuitive part of us so that we can really follow each of our own unique paths and weave this beautiful tapestry globally that helps serve one another, that helps us all work together in a collaborative way, just to bring more peace to our planet, to bring more ease, more flow, less of that forceful, success-driven, I have to energy, right? This is that flowing, divine, feminine energy. I came from super masculine to super feminine energy, and now I've found my in-between. And that's how it works. That's how it works. I went from everybody else's definition of success and what my life was supposed to look like and what to find happiness to, I'm going to go all the way over here and just be like, la, 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 whatever. I'm going to do whatever and just do me for a while. And then I needed to organize it all a little bit better. So I kind of came back to the middle, because the masculine energy is about that structure, that organization, and the feminine is about the free-flowing creativity, spontaneity. So we all have both within us, and we are the most effective when we find a harmony between the two. And that's where intuition comes in, our ability to access the records and really get in tune with that unique soul blueprint that we have, so that we know we're following the path that was meant for us. And we don't have to question whether we're off track. And there's a lot of peace and serenity in that. So I'll post that link in the comments. Thanks so much for being here. I love you guys for spending this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.